All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to 2016 and Hooked on Drupal. Today is January 14th, and we are reconvening for another year of Drupal podcasting. So we got the typical crew here at Commercial Progression. I'm Shane, the marketing guy, and I'll let these fine folks introduce. I think, did you guys switch?
Hillary is here, and I am here.
This is strange.
It's usually
We're changing things up for 2016.
And I've just introduced both of us.
Hi,
well done.
Yeah.
All right. And you're Ira Glass, is that right?
Yes.
What's up with that hat?
It's an awesome hat.
What's the story with that hat? Wow. Right.
Well, it's the story with the hair. I mean,
Got
two client meetings
today.
Yeah, looks good.
Yeah. Where were you guys are headed out to U of M, or?
I don't know.
We are
headed
headed out to U of M, and then they are headed out to
Ypsilanti after that.
Right on. I mean, at some point we'll probably cover. It was on the agenda to cover, the big clients, the big projects of 2015. What did we do last year for? Like, we had a January podcast in 2015. Did we look back or did we look forward? Did we make predictions last year?
We did at the end of the year, right? We said like our favorite things, and we made predictions about Drupal 8.
Raindrops on roses, whiskers on kittens.
Did anything come through? Do we have like a record of predicting things well?
I'm really good at it.
Yeah,
as you saw in the last podcast, I'm really good
days.
at like stealing other people's predictions and saying that they were mine.
So who got the closest at the launch of Drupal 8? Was that Brad?
I think it was Brad. Or you doctored the podcast.
Within 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's pretty good. I think that sets us up. That's a precedent. The content that you're going to get here is clairvoyant. I mean, we know things about the future, and especially within our expertise, which includes breakfast cereals and Drupal, and perhaps in that order. So yeah, let's get right into it. I mean, did you have a prediction for 2016? Let's start with the technology related stuff. Is there something now that Drupal 8 is out? What do you predict for its adoption in 2016? I kind of threw that. I didn't prep you on that one. I'm sorry.
Well, prior to the podcast, I had indicated that I had a topic of discussion, and I think it kind of relates. Because the idea that I had in my head on the way to work was like, if you make Drupal Windows, then like 4 was Windows 95. And like nowadays, if you were to figure out how to make a emulator machine to run Drupal 4, be like, wow, that's really quaint. Mm-hmm. And then Drupal 6 was like XP.
It came on a cartridge, right?
Yeah. A whole like 6 floppies. And then when like Drupal 6 would be XP and 7 was like Windows 7. So I'm wondering whether Drupal 8 is Windows 8 or Windows 10, and basing that entirely on like the curiosity of building a lot of practical sites, because everyone agrees, wow, there's new features, the re-architecting's cool and everything. I'm kind of hopeful and thinking that it's Windows 10, but
not Windows 9.
Yeah, but I'm not 100% sure about that yet.
We should also clear up that we don't like Windows.
I love Windows. It's my favorite.
This is not an endorsement.
We don't
use Windows.
None of us use it.
No.
It was meant to be it was meant to be like just a really powerful metaphor. It's supposed to it's pungent, like
I get it, yeah.
Saying Windows, like
it's good.
Yeah.
But since they did re-architect everything and kind of go a different direction, maybe they left Windows.
Well, maybe it's kind of Vista-y. Like, we did a whole bunch of stuff under the hood, but you don't really notice. So anyway, that was just something I thought I wanted to get it off my chest.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thank you for sharing.
I believe that people will make Drupal 8 websites in the year 2016.
And we will be starting to make our first one soon.
Yes.
Right? So I guess we will at least have one in 2016.
At least that's a very safe prediction.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. Okay, I mean, so in my prediction, which is actually going off of some other things that I've seen, I think Brad did one of these sites like last year or something like that, but I've seen a lot of stuff online. This has nothing to do with Drupal, by the way. But the static site generators, it seems like those are becoming like super popular and taking over like the low end of what CMSs used to do, especially for like event sites or something that's just going to go up for, you know, a year and then be scrubbed away and changed or whatever. And there's usually like one person managing it anyway. So
a brief insight. I don't know how insightful, but like your Dreamweaver and your front page were their own static site generators.
Yeah, they
back-
kind of were,
back in the day,
right? Yeah.
So these kind of standalone tools are really just taking the place of things that people are hopefully not using by now.
Yeah, what used to be software applications, right? Yeah.
But the real appeal to me of specifically Jekyll is you can host your website for free on GitHub, and they take care of a decent chunk of that administrative trouble for a whole bunch of different things. So
Okay.
the static site generation and some of the neat things that it does is cool, but free hosting always wins for me. But for the 2016 prediction, I'd like to pick Chris's brain for a second. What do you think about the decoupled Drupal stuff that's coming up?
I don't know. I mean, I think some people will try a lot of it. I've tried it, and I don't really like it. I think Drupal will have to decouple first. Like, they'll have to decide that that's a good thing to do, because, I don't know, you have all that power there, and you just don't use very much of it.
There's a young gentleman by the name of Dries who is talking quite a bit about how Drupal as a system in the future might work, and has compiled a pretty neat spreadsheet of these things.
Right, of the different front ends.
Yeah.
Frameworks.
So which one do you want them to pick, and which one do you think they will pick?
Well, I guess at this point I would want them to pick React, because that seems like the way to go, but my guess is that they'll pick something like Angular.
Okay.
Because that's usually what they do. Like, they usually pick the one that's not, I don't know if I'd call React like what the cool kids are using, but they usually don't pick that one.
Right. Well, yeah, Angular is probably enterprisey. React, well, I mean, just in terms of sheer size of the library, like, you might be able to predict it that way.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, help me out. I mean, Dries and I, we hang out a lot, but we don't always talk about all the Drupal stuff. He usually, just wants to carry on about dog breeding and things like that. We have some side hobbies that we keep up with. But this decoupling thing, if you could... So is it decoupling, like, the interface from the actual framework, or what is that?
Yeah, it's more like for like a web application type thing. You would do this. Like, you would have Drupal kind of output the information in a RESTful way, if you know what a REST API is.
That's what you mean.
And then you would build this front end application that consumes what Drupal is outputting. Okay. And then it's a kind of a, I don't know, you'd use like Bootstrap and all this crazy stuff to build out a nice little interface.
It really makes Drupal into a content management system, and that's where it ends. And then you have your front end and completely just thinking of it on its own. So,
is it front end back end separation? Is that a good way to think about it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the actual front facing user site kind of runs on its own.
It's a completely different code base.
Okay.
Yeah. Instead, I mean, Drupal kind of does that with the theme layer, but it's not a separate code base. It's still
Okay. And I had seen some other decoupled systems advertised in the last couple of years that kind of had like, there was like the whole layer that the public layer that's accessible, the public IP is essentially like a static cached site almost, and there's no scripts on there that could be compromised. Like they're kind of sold as like a security thing. Like you're not doing any administration or updates or anything from that public IP. Everything happens administration on something that's not internet accessible. Is that a configuration that would be kind of like a best practice, or no? Is it still you're updating the site from a public IP?
It could happen that way, I guess.
Could, yeah.
Like if the data you would just grab it with that front end code from wherever the back end data lived, and if it was two separate places, I guess it could work that way. I've never read anything about that, but it sounds like it.
And this isn't Drupal specific, but thinking about accessibility and some other things, when you use one of these huge frameworks that's pulling in data from an external source, when you first load the page, unless you have JavaScript running, you get nothing. And it's I've always thought that web pages should be HTML that has stuff in them. So
without a bunch of JavaScript libraries to
Right.
power it.
Right. So it makes me a little uneasy, but I think I could get over it.
All right, so in 2016, there's some challenges here. I'm feeling. Hillary, I think it's your turn. Big prediction, 2016.
For technology or otherwise?
You can go anywhere with it.
Okay.
I set it up as Drupal 8, and then I hijacked it to talk about static site generators. So I think you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, I don't have anything technology off the top of my head, but my prediction is the Powerball is going to go for 2 more weeks without anyone winning. 2
and
more
then
weeks.
What does that
Yeah.
put it at?
Yeah, how
I
much
don't
would that
even know.
be?
That would be a couple billion.
I thought there was a winner. I think the jackpot's down to
already
40 million or something.
Oh, God, that's awful.
You have to make a new prediction now.
I don't have one.
So what do you think is the next Internet of Things? Like, is an internet toaster the next huge consumer appliance? Or what's
Internet toaster.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
Like I've got a friend who has many lights in his house that can change colors and things based on what he taps on his phone.
Yeah.
And
I've wanted to get
all
that
kinds
for a
of
while,
things.
but I
Sounds
can't
like a
quite.
bachelor pad thing.
Yeah, it is like a space age bachelor pad, like boo boo boo.
Yeah.
Yeah, home automation it's a good.
it's coming along.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what do you guys all have a Nest installed?
I have a
think
Nest.
you do.
don't.
No.
I have basically no climate control whatsoever.
The window's either half open
Yeah.
or shut. I drank a lot of the Kool-Aid there, and I bought the Nest unit, and then I got 2 of the smoke alarm thingies.
Oh, you did with the carbon monoxide
Yeah.
detector and everything. Yeah.
So I haven't installed the camera yet, just because
Oh,
I have a thing
wow.
about surveillance in general. I don't really do anything in my house that's that interesting. Someone could hijack it and watch me watching TV.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, the principle of it is still. But anyway, they connected, pretty dang easy. The guy who invented all that stuff, came out of the Apple universe, so the
Yeah.
interface was pretty slick. But the first big hiccup was I had a Christmas party, and I wanted to have a fog machine running so that the Christmas laser lights would shoot down the hall.
Yeah.
And man, those things were really hard to deactivate once they got going.
Oh yeah.
And they're battery operated. It was hard to get in there. I was used to the other ones with the 9-volt. You just kind of like slap it and it goes off, right?
What you need to do is figure out the code for the shield generator, and then there's a small hole that.
But I don't know. That's as far down the rabbit hole as I've gone with home automation.
I think my next purchase is one of the light bulbs. Like I don't want to be able to turn it on and off. just
from
for
your phone.
fun. Yeah, I think the wife's on board with this too.
Yeah.
So we just want to like just pimp out the house with all
I
sorts of.
like being able to change the color. Like
Yeah.
I like a nice orange.
The kids are gonna love it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
They already love the lights in the car.
Yeah.
So another tech prediction for you. I think we're going to see more Ubers of things.
Okay.
And by the end of 2016, you'll be able to have like one of your neighbors bring you a sandwich. Like that's going to happen.
Right. And be like, yeah, I live right down the street and saw your post and give me $1, please. I mean, in larger cities, I hear that that's like taken over pretty well for a certain class of people. Like they have like 100 minions that do everything, you know, from clipping their toenails to like you're getting them sandwiches. Everybody gets paid 13 cents, and you know. But I mean, do you guys see that creeping into the professional world as well for like, I don't know, automating tasks or whatever, doing piecemeal?
I don't know.
Or like, I don't know. Is it? I mean, it's like the next evolution of freelancing.
It's like there's the
Basically.
Mechanical Turk stuff on Amazon. that
Yeah.
Kind of exists now. If we wanted someone to check over content entry or something.
Have we ever done
like, you
anything
get-
with that?
I don't think so. I mean, there's other places you can use too, but Mechanical Turk is really cheap and it usually gets done really fast.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard of that, but I've never used the service. But I don't know. I also over the holidays I read a book called Future Crimes. That it's if you want to be paranoid about technology, it's a great book
Yeah.
to read. But basically, like this guy, like grew up through the CIA and like. I mean, his thesis is basically like everything we've built is totally insecure. Like we just cobbled together these things that like we're just hoping that they connect, right?
Yeah.
And like nothing was prepared for internet connectivity. And he's like documenting all these cases where so like people install the Nest and then it does auto away, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the trigger to tell the robber, like, okay, he's gone.
Yeah.
Now's the time. Now's the time to go steal
But
the
so is your
stuff.
car driving out of your driveway. So I
Right,
mean,
right. If someone wants to steal,
Yeah.
I get it. But yeah, I'm for 1 month I'll be in hyper alert mode. Like, I uninstalled Angry Birds once I figured out what it was up to. You don't want to know.
yeah.
You don't want to know.
So non-tech?
Non-technological.
It sounded like
predictions.
you're like, I don't have a tech prediction, but I totally know what's going to happen this year.
I said it was the
I
Powerball.
don't.
Just the Powerball.
That was it.
That's all I care about right now.
How many tickets
That's all
do
I
you
think
have?
about.
None.
You don't even have any.
Never bought one.
You don't have a horse in the race, but you're still like.
I have to go to like a liquor store and like buy one, and I just haven't done that. Like I haven't gone to a liquor store in 2 weeks, so.
Well, Brad, didn't you get us? Someone got us all like. I was scratching something off for
Yeah,
Christmas.
I got $20 from that scratch.
Oh, you
off.
did?
Yeah.
So you have like the win and juice. Like I didn't get anything.
Yeah,
I got like 10 more for Christmas from another relative, and I only won $13 off of the 10.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
winnings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually I get like $2.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and
All
that
right.
might be on a roll.
Well, that might be all we have for our clairvoyant predictions
Whoa,
of
whoa,
26. Oh no, you got
Whoa.
okay.
Well, hold on.
Okay, no.
The Chicago Cubs, Bernie Sanders. The end.
Okay,
All right.
those are bold.
Mhm.
Those are bold.
Very bold.
I like a good dark horse. Maybe the Detroit Lions, but that'll be in 2017.
Okay.
No, they're a football team.
Yes, they play American football.
Okay.
As opposed to the football that's used throughout
The
world.
worldwide version
Yeah,
of football.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty sure that's called soccer.
Just infuriated our audience.
I played soccer, okay? I didn't play football.
Football. Well, I think
Cricket,
that
can
those.
you insert some crickets there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
And those are bold predictions. We will be tracking them, throughout future podcasts. And
Can I get a
we'll
like
get a
report of
written
who said
report
what?
and contract. We'll get this transcribed, and we'll have some Mechanical Turks track it into perpetuity. See what happens. But let's try to reflect a little bit. I mean, we kind of missed our end of the year December podcast opportunity. So, let's place ourselves back at end of the year. What did we accomplish anything in 2015?
Seems like we made some. Did we make some Drupal sites this year? We did.
I worked on a couple big ones.
Yeah. You should.
That kind of finished up.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the year, so that felt good.
What were them? Can we say them?
I think
Can we
so. I
talk
mean, some
about
of
them?
them we even have like our. There's actually a link on their site at the bottom to us, so I think that's public record.
Yeah. We can't talk about
fair
like the
enough.
NSA stuff that we did.
Right.
Well, no. Well,
We
I
can't
mean,
talk-
we
did.
can
We
send.
just did.
Yeah, right, and we can.
All right.
Yeah, we
but your
can.
mouth is gonna be blacked out, and you
Right.
leave it at like
Yeah.
that.
All right.
It's the North Korea stuff that we get in trouble for.
Yeah,
'cause
right.
there's
Yeah.
vested
It's
interests on
frowned
both
upon.
sides. But I think the MCube project was pretty substantial, and I'm like
Very
reading through the documentation and the story of that to put together a full case study. But and it was interesting. Like I was reading over some of the presentations that were done, and at one point it was like, hey, we could redo this in Drupal 8 for you, and we decided not to do that, kind of like a cost budget solution.
Mhm.
Yes.
But what do you think? Is that a site? It's been very successful for the college, for the university, and it looks like they're planning to expand it to a national model. Is that something that would be done in Drupal 8 if we redid it?
Not right now. It depends on when they want, because whenever they do the national part, that's when we would probably rebuild it.
Okay.
So if that was like a year from now, it's possible that we could do it in Drupal 8. But
It would be
Drupal
hard
8
to do
has,
right now.
we use a lot of contributed modules on that site.
Okay.
So it'd be tough to do it in Drupal 8 right now.
Just because you have to wait for
Yeah, wait
contrib
or write,
modules to.
Or write
or
the
write
functionality
that
we need.
functionality, and it'd be very specific. We wouldn't be able to like spend the time and money to recreate those modules necessarily.
Right, we wouldn't be able
have
to contribute
just
them back.
kind of write the part of that module that we need to use.
Right, that
Wouldn't really
specific function.
do anybody any good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was I mean, it's a good looking site, but it's one of those ones where once you log in, like, oh my gosh, there's this whole world of activity and a whole online system that's basically doing. I mean, I kind of describe it as a university Kickstarter.com, with a whole lot of oversight built into it to make sure the funding model is adhering to their guidelines, right? So yeah, I mean, kudos to the team for delivering that one. It's pretty impressive. What else?
We did other things. Well, sticking with the University of Michigan, we redid the School of Kinesiology website, which
Right.
was a good
Pretty
one.
big relaunch.
Yeah, we didn't do the design on it, but we did the development.
Teamed up
and
with Michigan
theming.
Creative on
Yeah,
that.
and the design was very nice, and the site ended up looking very good.
Mm-hmm.
But that site, I mean, there's not nearly as complicated as MCubed, like on the back end.
Right.
But they do store a lot of content on that site, so it was fun to like architect that one out. So a lot of content types and a lot of entity types and
Right.
things like that. So
And I know Dan's cringing in there right now with all of this talk about U of M.
oh yeah, Sparty Dan.
Yeah, Sparty
Yeah.
Dan. But I mean, hopefully, if Dan keeps his Spartan fingers crossed, we'll have more university or
What's that
Michigan
college that he
State,
went
right?
to?
Is that where it's at?
I think so.
I mean, because they're a client now as well. I don't know that we have a big project lined up, but we have done some work for
Mhm.
them.
Michigan
Love
State
that.
became the third best university in the state of Michigan.
Are you
I don't
trying
want to
not
know who
get
number
more
2
work
is.
Well, I'm just so big of a Wayne State fan. Go Warriors!
There it is. There it is.
Your turn.
I didn't do anything in 2015.
Hillary single-handedly kept all of the nonprofits in America up to date, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was a pretty interesting new client. It's the National Organization of Nonprofits.
The National Council of
National
Nonprofits.
Council.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. We're just doing some. They have had a pretty nice site to start with. We're just doing some little changes here and there for them, but pretty nice people to work with.
Yeah, and that's a DC.
Yes, I think he's in DC.
I thought we were talking about comics
Oh yeah, DC.
versus like Marvel or something.
Right, and
Okay.
you want to pick sides. Well,
Well,
I
yeah.
would
Yeah, it's
you
important.
rather be on Marvel? I think
I think so.
they seem to have the bigger
These
guns.
days, yeah.
But
Now, is there like a DC Capcom crossover? Like, where does the
Like Street
the whole-
Fighter?
Yeah, where does the whole universe?
Street Fighter seems to be where it converges. Like, I mean, all worlds come together, right? I mean,
I mean, that is my world.
That's
You
where
know
you live.
Street Fighter,
I don't know what the husband does. I'm just
but through
privy
him,
to
you
it.
probably have a good knowledge. Better than any of us here.
Yeah, I used to only know the Street Fighter 2 characters. Now I know the backstory to all of them.
the Turbo Excellent 3 edition with,
Yeah.
and the difference
One of the
between
arcade
that.
machines in the basement is Street Fighter Alpha 3. I think there's another number in there.
No, I mean, it was a whirlwind year. I think the other big announcement that we made at the end of the year is we're going to have a Grand Rapids office here pretty soon. So Andrew Blanchard, I don't think he's been on the podcast ever, but that's going to change. The next one, we'll go out to Grand Rapids and do it out there. But he's actively pursuing a domicile out there. He wants to move in to Grand Rapids. So we were talking about Grand Rapids. I mean, I have spent a couple days out there with Andy over the last few months. We got a couple clients already lined up. It's pretty exciting as far as like a new environment of activity. There's a lot of web people out there in Grand Rapids. I had no idea that the community was already so well established. But so that'll be exciting. It's our first satellite office, I guess. We'll see what it turns into. How many people
Yeah.
we're going to end up with out there, but.
Yeah, we're going to be influenced by Amway and turn into like a multi-level Drupal marketing organization.
It's a
Yeah.
funnel.
Yeah, it's an upside down pyramid.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, fun, yeah.
Or a Christmas
Yeah.
tree on its side.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're going to go in with the multi-level market, you might as well be right there at the top. You know, I mean, that's the best place to be. So I think we're positioning ourselves well to be right there next to them. And we shouldn't. We're not saying anything disparaging about Amway because they could become one of our very best customers. I think it's a $7 trillion industry of soap and whatever else that they sell. It's amazing.
Other soaps.
And now we're disqualified from the entirety of the...
We'll just have to come up with a.
I'm sitting over here just bad-mouthing anybody possible that could give us business.
So we'll invent the perfect. Modern art installation project for Art Prize. And, we'll take it that way. What is the grant? It's like $500,000. I mean, we could work with that.
Sure.
We just have to make a fire-breathing Drupal-powered dragon
Yeah.
made out of
That's
popsicle
easy.
sticks.
Okay.
Well, and I mean that's all my recollections from 2015. That's everything I got. And we already covered 2016 predictions of people being fused with their technology and having toasters embedded. I think that's going to happen.
This is not the year of the ocular implant, of Linux on the desktop, of anything good happening.
We did make predictions because you did predict the year of the Linux desktop last
Oh,
time.
you did.
Yeah.
And that did not.
And you've learned your lesson.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, what about tablets? Does that count?
Tablets as far as like the Linux desktop?
Yeah, does that count
are
as-
they-
does
I
that
don't
count
think
as a
No,
desktop?
yeah,
No, it
a
doesn't
desktop
have
has to be
desktop.
like
It needs to be a beige box.
monitor and yeah.
Okay. I mean, is the desktop going away?
It's pretty much. I don't know
It's
many
declining,
people that
right?
use. I mean, I have one at home to play games on. It's
Yeah,
kind of the
that's pretty
last
much-
place
yeah.
that
I
people.
mean, unless you're
really
a
use
developer,
them for.
what do you need it for, right?
I mean, we
Or you-
all have our
you guys
laptops
all have
now. I
laptops.
mean,
Yeah.
laptops are powerful enough. You don't need.
Yeah. Well,
stuff,
laptops.
and you gotta
count
take
as
them.
powerful.
Some of them do.
It's just for certain video games, right? You need the big
You need
graphics
that graphics card that can't fit in a laptop.
And I saw something online. There's some like startup or new company that was selling it was a laptop, and then they had a Thunderbolt 3 connection to just a big graphics card. So then when you're ready
It's
to
kind
play
of my
games,
dream come
it's
true.
like,
Yeah.
and you blow it out.
That's my Bitcoin rig. Is you just have a whole bunch of external GPUs that are just going all the time. It's pretty
Right.
sweet.
Well, I think I had something else to say, but I
You
forget.
forgot
I
what it
forgot what it
was.
was. Yeah, I mean it was funny.
Well, tell us about
We'll just
mushrooms.
laugh like
And-
you said something funny.
Mushrooms and things.
What's that?
Did you bring in your
Mushrooms.
mushroom
Oh
stuff?
yeah, there's a crock pot. I keep working kind of with my my base crock pot that seems to be the most successful is the chicken pot pie. So
Mhm.
this one is the mushroom pot pie. So just substitute one ingredient and you got a whole new experience.
It's a whole new world.
You know, Shannon,
Yeah.
I was really scared when Chris sent his email saying that the entire world had fallen apart and that he was going to come in a broken man on Monday. And you said, well, hey, I'll bring a crock pot. I was like, you can't bring a crock pot on Monday. It's crazy talk.
I mean, I made it that night just because I was so distraught over your
The
loss.
incident,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, and I'll never get that rock back now. So, Chris had a vandal attack his car.
It is in my house, just on my counter, as a reminder of that tragic day.
Trust
The
me.
depravity
So when
of
I find the
humanity.
person that threw it through my window, I can throw it through theirs.
Right, and then hug them.
In a way,
It's okay, brother.
the rock might be the Powerball. So, like, bring it all back together. Like, one day you might find out that what they were doing was doing you a favor, and that's actually a meteor fragment that contains diamonds, and
Now,
you just lucked
This
out.
rock does whisper two-digit numbers. I didn't really put it together.
16,
The
22,
same two-digit
42.
numbers? Or do they
Yeah, they're always the same.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Well, and with that, it's very possible that Chris may not be with us anymore after he wins $1.8 billion. I mean, but the government gets 40%, so it's hardly anything. But thank you for joining us at the kickoff of 2016. All of these predictions will come true this year, so you got the inside scoop. And we'll be joining you again next time, probably from our Grand Rapids office, and we'll make sure that Mr. Blanchard is on the podcast, and maybe you guys will have an occasion to visit before long.
We can finally talk about beefy arms. It's never been a topic of discussion.
Yeah. We have to have Dave in there, too. Though,
Yeah.
if that's the
Yeah.
case.
Oh yeah.
Andy has
Sorry.
competition.
It's our workout episode.
I'll never be a contender in the beefy arms.
Right
Me
there with
neither.
you.
Never.
Goodbye.
The end.